Appreciating assets and the emotional tie. Interesting topic. Maybe. Nah, I think so. Alright, before we get started, quick disclaimer, not a financial advisor. I'm not giving you financial advice. Just spreading the word and sharing some information. Alright, so let's get into it. Let's talk about today's topic. So when people talk about the topic of appreciating assets, we all tend to have a different opinion of those various assets. Assets are as defined, at least based off the information I could find. An asset is a resource/item with economic value that an individual, corporation, or country owns or controls with the expectation that it will provide a future benefit. Assets are reported on a company's balance sheet and are brought or created to increase a firm's value or benefit the firm's operations. What's most interesting, we all tend to see value in many different forms. However, what's even more interesting is that we all tend to agree, at least to some degree, that certain items do obtain value that appreciate over time, like that Pokemon card I just showed you all. And I'm sure I'm going to catch grief about it, and that's okay. It's part of making videos, I guess. Tangible assets are assets that you own or control that have a physical presence and that are expected to produce future economic value over time. A few examples are homes, businesses, stocks, bonds, precious metals, and the Pokemon card I showed you, and sports cards. I'm sure everyone can agree on that one. Intangible assets are assets that have no physical presence, and a couple examples are patents, copyrights, trademarks, software, music, crypto, and let's not forget about the more recent NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And might I add, there are NFTs out there, sport card NFTs, that go for a hefty price. How assets appreciate. So we all know they increase or decrease in price. The price of an asset is driven by supply and demand, scarcity, popularity, and many other variables. But when storing your wealth into gold and silver, you should consider your purchase as a saving strategy. So there are some out there that say that there's not much risk associated with gold and silver. That's why it's not seen as a investment. So in order to have an investment, there needs to be risk involved. It's a safe haven. There's not much risk associated with it at the end of the day. And this is all while understanding the value of your assets should appreciate over time. You look back to 1933 when gold was valued at $20.67, and today it's roughly coming close to $1,800. I think it's important for everyone to understand before they invest/store their wealth into gold and silver that they should be aware of these precious metals can lose value, but they appreciate over time for the most part. A key takeaway to understand is that these appreciating assets are likely to increase over time, like I just mentioned. And not that they necessarily will, but if you look at history, it speaks for itself. You look at the performance, it speaks for itself. Emotion that goes into it. Is it right or wrong? There's so much emotion involved with gold and silver because once you begin investing into it, you begin to realize how difficult it is to accumulate gold and silver. I have two opinions about the emotional tie between gold and silver specifically. Recently, I had an experience where I needed to liquidate some gold and silver, and boy oh boy, I'll tell you, that was an emotional roller coaster. I knew I needed to sell some gold and silver, but I kept going back and forth. I shouldn't. Yes, no. But eventually, I made the right choice. I pulled the trigger and I sold some. Everything worked out just fine for me and my family. The point to be made is, once you have it, you don't want to spend it. You would much rather tap in your cash reserve, which is what you should be doing anyway. This is why it's such a great store of wealth. We find it harder to spend because of the emotional tie, the luster, the beauty, the elegance, the shine that's created between us and the metal. It makes the experience much more fun, easier to accumulate over a longer period of time. I've heard people say What are you going to do with your gold and silver anyway? Isn't that stuff hard to sell? I just smirk and I smile. I say, well, what are you going to do with your cash? The same thing you would do with your gold and silver. You either spend it, save it, or look at it. So I don't think I need to say much else to that. Bottom line up front, when the time comes where you need to liquidate, you'll know in your mind that you absolutely need to, and that it's a good feeling to see your wealth start to build into something that has real value and appreciates rather than lose value and become stagnant. Remember, it's intrinsic and it doesn't need to be backed by anything, but it is, because we all know it has real value. Short video, straight to the point, not much going into this one. Just wanted to share a little bit about the appreciating asset and how you can become emotionally tied to it. And I hope everyone was able to learn something or find something interesting. And if you did, please like the video, give me a subscribe, and click the notification bell. I'll see y'all again soon. Let's keep stacking.